Ready to go.
It's 7 o'clock.
There you
Call the meeting to order, and all board members present are voting members tonight. Consideration of the minutes of the previous meeting. Do we have a motion to approve them?
My motion to consider them,
David's here. Great.
I knew
I knew it was 2 or 3 minutes late. It had to be.
I'm gonna get here early.
Need a second.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Second, any discussion? All those in favor of approving the minutes? The minutes are approved. Consideration of conditional use application of Jeff and Tammy Doyle for a kennel. Do you have, one of these applications, Steve?
Yeah.
Do you have one, Don?
I can make a copy of it if you have an extra one.
I have extra ones.
I think I have copies of
I'm offering to give them away.
Thank you.
Yeah, okay. Okay, Tammy.
Yes.
Talk to us.
What
Tell
would you
us
like to
about
know?
Okay. There's a kennel for hunting dogs, 50 Mountain Road. Let me see. So what she's given us is a satellite picture.
Mm-hmm. Of the kennel next to the house, they have covered.
They're still out the kennel's still out in front of your house?
Off to the end, at the end, is, we have a deck,
Right.
a cottage roof, and it goes off into their pen. They have a good sized pen, and on the other side of that pen is where we clean, and it goes over another pen, which is removed, in the spring and mulched down with horse manure. We mix it, we take it down on the corner so it's not around the house, and the acidity of the horse manure burns it down, so it absorbs it and just, it,
You take care of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
yes,
Compost
it's
it.
always, and we clean them at least 3 times a day out in the pen, we have to. They are not left outside,
Yeah.
on barking. I know we have a gentleman that walks our road every morning, so I make sure they're in, and if they catch sight of him, I pull the blinds until he goes by, and then I open them up again.
Yeah.
You know, but we really try to stay on top of them, keeping them controlled and keeping them quiet, and they do pretty good. They do have their barking moments. I mean, the dogs, the beagles, and of course I have the beagles, and I have 2 chocolate labs, which are mine.
How many beagles?
Pardon?
How many beagles?
Let's see. There's 9, 2, 7.
Seven beagles plus your 2 labs.
Right, and they're pretty much retired. The young ones that, are now going on to 10 this year, and the mother is 13, so, you know.
Jeff doesn't take them out hunting anymore.
He has a couple that he takes out once in a while. He has a real young one, not really young, I think he's 5.
Yeah.
But every now and then he'll escape and he'll take them out hunting,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so, I guess we wanna make a note of that, there's 9 dogs.
So just, based on the, other kennel interactions we've had, I wanna ask, Don and you, Tammy.
Mm-hmm.
Have there been any, complaints from neighbors about noise or anything like
Not that I've heard
that
of.
you're dealing with?
Not that I've heard of, you know, and because we're very cautious, we don't want them barking. You know, they have their moments, as I said, but they're not out there constantly barking and yapping and, you know, but like on cold days, we go out with them and we get them right back in, you know.
So they live in the house a lot?
No complaints have come to me.
Any
They-
interactions
they
with
on the
the
couch.
animal control
Yeah,
officer
okay.
like we had with the
Yeah,
last
they
kennel,
have
anything
inside.
like that?
Yeah.
because.
No, and I
it's
haven't heard
cold.
from any of
I
the
don't believe
neighbors.
in tying a dog, and I don't believe in leaving them out in the doghouse, so.
Yep.
In the summer, they're outside.
In the summer, they spend a lot of time outside.
Yeah.
I mean, they're on flea and tick control, heartworm.
Yeah.
You know, we make sure they have them monthly. If it's real hot, no, they're not outside, they're inside under the AC. But on good days, yep, they go out. But if I see there's a lot of commotion or a lot of activity going around and it makes them bark, they'll come in the house.
So, for your kennel, how many dogs total do you want a conditional use permit for?
9,
None. You don't wanna, you can't see yourself in 2 or 3 years getting another 10 dogs.
are you serious? No, you can ask my family.
Yeah, okay.
We got a deal at home,
Okay,
okay? No.
okay.
No.
No, because now's the time. If you're gonna get another 3 dogs, 2 dogs,
No.
1 dog, 9
No.
dogs. Okay.
This is it.
Okay.
This is it, this is,
So, this isn't a breeding kennel? you're
it's not a breeding
the
kennel,
dogs,
it's not, right, and it's not a boarding kennel,
Right.
it's taking care of my dog.
Yep,
It's basically a shelter.
Yes,
yep.
that we treat them just like family.
To me, this is very straightforward.
Well, it sounds like the dogs are behaving well, but I have some concerns about Jeff.
I agree.
I'll agree, yes, I'll third the motion.
I'm glad Tammy's here. Let's just put it that way, all right?
That's what I was thinking.
So we have to have a public hearing, and we have to have a site walk.
You can come over anytime you want.
Oh, we've got to schedule it. We gotta do it. You can't just, I'd pop in, but, you know, we've got to schedule it.
Oh, I.
Got a date you want to suggest, Matt?
Well, today's the 9th. If we get the ad in either the 10th or by Monday morning, they can publish it on the 15th. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We could schedule a site walk as soon as the 25th.
Saturday,
Yeah.
9 o'clock?
Coffee and donuts? Coffee and, no, banana muffins, I'm sorry, that's the only thing I can make.
I would love to have a muffin with you.
It will be there.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So the site walk could be either on the 25th or the 4th of March, either one, you know, because we're not gonna be able to have the public hearing until we're gonna miss the 23rd.
Yep.
With the time that we have to leave to run the ad. So the soonest we can have the public hearing is the 9th.
Well, let's do, the site walk on the 25th.
Okay.
At 9 o'clock.
At 9 o'clock.
Followed by public hearing on March 9th.
Yep, followed by public hearing on March 9th.
We won't advertise about the muffins, but have to.
Okay. I'll make plenty.
Okay,
Okay, that's good. All right.
very good.
25th at 9?
Yes.
25th at 9, we'll be there.
Okay, awesome.
Great,
We'll
thank you.
look for you guys then.
Great, thanks, Mary.
Thank you, it's good to see everybody.
All right, have a good evening.
You too, thank you.
Okay. You guys, do you want to introduce yourselves to us?
Sure. My name's Kurt Christensen. I
Hi.
live over in Sebago.
Yep,
My son Eric.
I could never have guessed you guys. Really.
So, I believe you've got you received a plot plan of, or a sketch plan of what we're proposing. If you want, I can just hold this one up, if for anyone that doesn't, obviously you don't need to roll it, you know. But, Andy Morrill from DH2M is doing the engineering for us, and he was unable to make the meeting tonight, so, stepping into him. do the best I can to answer any questions. This is over on Route 11.
Yep.
It's almost directly across from,
Fuller.
Peters Pit.
Oh, Peters Pit, yeah, Fuller land.
Yeah, Fuller's Land,
Yeah.
Peters Pit, it's actually, a little bit, the Sebago side of,
Didn't you come in before and talk to us about this
Before
piece
you
of
were here.
land?
we did, that was a different piece.
Oh.
Oh,
That was
okay.
a different piece of land.
That's true, that's true, yep.
That's way closer this way, closer to the brook.
Yeah.
Closer to the Quaker Brook,
Yeah.
on that. But this is a piece of land Eric bought from, the Fullers.
Yep.
It's approximately, is it 30 acres? Almost 30 acres.
1.4 here, and then you're 2, 4, 6, 8, yeah.
Yeah, we were gonna,
30, yeah.
we were gonna start building on, this first where it says out sale lot.
Yeah,
We were gonna start a project there this fall, but I was hesitant to do it because I wasn't sure on, what we should do on this driveway entrance, and I didn't want to start something and
Thank you.
have you.
Just for my information, what is the lot and block, the map and lot number for this? Has it on the map?
it's
Map.
lots 2B and 2D,
It's one lot or two lots?
it's,
Map 3.
The existing lot, is it two lots or one?
So this is one 30 acre,
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
Joe, it's really one lot.
okay,
You referred to it as two lots, but I think it's,
yeah,
this is, 2D?
this is, map 3, lot 2D.
2D.
Yes, sir.
okay. I'm sorry, thank you very much for correcting me.
So it's one lot.
lot off to the left? It says Kirk Christensen, 1 acre.
You have another adjoining piece of property?
I have, yeah, right, abutting this.
Yes, what I thought.
Yeah.
When did you get that?
A year ago, maybe?
And so this, the Eric's lot, was that, so it looks like the lot on top was a separate lot for a while.
Yeah, this lot up here, this, I'm not sure who, I guess Teresa Sturgeon owns
Yeah.
this lot.
So did you, so is, who owned the lot that you owned, before you bought it?
Fuller did.
So are these both from Fuller? Your lot, Eric's lot and your lot?
Yes.
And were they both purchased within the last 5 years?
So this piece, this 1 acre piece here, Fuller sold me as an abutter.
Were they originally part of another subdivision, I think, is that, David, is that where you're going?
Well, I'm trying to figure out the lineage.
The lineage, you know, whether. the timing
No,
of-
they were not part of another subdivision. Well, not within the last 5 years.
Not within the last 5 years.
They were both.
I own a piece of property here
From Fuller.
from Fuller. I bought an acre from Fuller as an abutter. So that doesn't count against him as a
Well, it
division.
depends on when you bought the original lot. Like, if it was in the last 5 years, your property and Eric's property might be part of the same mother lot.
They weren't both bought from the same Fuller.
They weren't adjoined before, they weren't the same property before?
No.
Okay.
Eric's lot belonged to, if I could just grab this. Is Robert?
I think it was Robert.
Help me out with the Fullers. Is Robert Fuller? No? Okay.
Different stuff.
I can tell you here, and it's, okay, so Robert Fuller owns Eric's piece of property.
Yeah,
The piece I bought years back was from, his brother. And I can't pull his first name up at the moment. You know how that
yeah.
works every day for me?
How about the lot to the north?
No idea, Teresa Sturgeon.
That was not part of
I
it.
have no idea who, and then over here is, Simon.
Yeah.
So, does that answer your question? These were not one lot, this was one Fuller And this was Robert Fuller.
not part of the original subdivision, it's within 5 years.
Correct.
I mean, I think we just need to probably have the deed so we can see the lineage.
You do have a deed in your package.
Well, the other lot too. You know, I mean, we can look it up. It's not-
Well, this property has nothing to do with this subdivision.
Well, that's what we need to, we just need to figure that out, like trust and verify sort of thing.
Humoring, that's all I can say.
Sure.
Kurt.
So you tell me what you'd like, and Eric will make a note of it, and we'll get,
Just the deed
The
to the,
deed to-
yeah, to that one, 'cause the top one.
not the 1 acre,
No, the one next to it,
this one.
yeah.
Okay.
Just so we can figure out.
Yeah, we have that.
Yeah,
My wife can dig that out.
The two properties were not combined anytime in the last 5 years.
Correct.
That's all we need to know.
Yep, no,
And it looks like the top one, there's no way there's any, you know, 'cause you don't even know those folks, and then the Simon,
this top piece, I'm pretty sure is part of that gravel pit over on Calbanel Road,
Yes.
where the young fellow was shot a few years back.
yeah.
Yeah.
So is this where the foundation was put in? Is there a foundation?
No, that's down here at the corner, they're moving another building sometime in the next couple of days.
Okay,
Oh, where you're speaking of is
further down?
more towards Sebago, probably quarter mile,
Okay.
half a mile, something like that.
Right here.
So this is the one before it?
And he's here, this is here, Carbonell comes here, and this is Route 11.
Where's the place where they have been, they started to take stuff off and they've got layers, they've got layers?
Yeah, that's back,
So you're right in between those.
that's
two.
back on mine. That's
Okay.
back on my side,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, so you're right in between, okay, I get it.
This foundation's already in.
That snowmobile trail, you know, the snowmobile
Yeah, yeah.
process, pretty much goes right up to the middle of this lot.
Okay.
And when I had this cut, I don't know what, Richard Wing was cutting the lots you're talking about where
Yeah.
the foundation is, and so I had him come in here, and I had him go right along this line and clear cut like 10 feet wide, so we can reroute that snowmobile trail.
So what I'm seeing is that you're taking this one lot and you're subdividing it into 5 lots.
Right.
Correct. It's not so you're coming in for subdivision of 5 lots.
It's a major
So
subdivision.
this becomes a major subdivision,
Yeah,
okay? I mean, because I don't see in the write-up whether you're coming in from a minor or a major. The way I see it,
Yeah, I'd have to ask.
it's a major subdivision because it's got 5 lots.
yeah.
Okay. You tell me.
What we're telling you.
Yep.
And the challenge is you're leaving that one lot, but, you know, it's kind of open, so you gotta be concerned about the future, because
Yeah, what are we doing with the large lot?
Right now, we don't have any plans for this.
you have to bring your driveway over, like, you don't,
But again, that lot will fall under the 5-year rule. The big lot to develop it.
no, it's falling there.
No.
Never,
No.
Never?
yeah,
You can
well,
never-
you can never develop it without coming back in and getting a
Right.
revision to the subdivision.
Right.
And then the problem is gonna be, and this is what always happens, this would happen over on, I wanna say Willow, what's not Willow? Firefly, you're putting in a driveway, and you're landlocking the driveway, and so that big piece of property is gonna have a problem, because you can't put in another driveway, you can't put in another road. You have-
Into this,
Right,
with 1,000 feet of frontage?
Because it's one lot that you're dealing with right now.
cause you're creating your own problem. Like, you're purposely putting in a driveway and not considering that other parcel of property. So, for us, I mean, I'd be really reluctant to agree to this, because you're basically trying to get 2 driveways in over time. Right? I mean, if you ever develop that big piece of
Why
property.
can't we put a driveway in here? This has got 2,000 feet of road frontage.
Because it's a lot now that we're creating a lot now that's
We
And they
don't,
said you would have to come in for another subdivision of that lot.
we don't allow multiple driveways onto a state numbered
On a
highway
single lot.
in Baldwin. That's why.
Right, that's why we have one driveway for 4 houses.
But
Yeah.
we should have one driveway for five.
Five.
For the whole property. Like, we talked about this when you came in last time, remember? Like, you had, the other one,
Right,
you
right,
had
you
four,
didn't want driveways for each lot.
right, you had 4 lots, and we
Because
talked
you're
about,
concerned about frontage.
not frontage, no, it's just the,
Access.
it's the subdivision ordinance talks about a singular driveway onto a numbered route. So that's why, in the other one, we talked about, you had to come in and then have that road in front,
Mm-hmm.
which, you know, didn't work,
Correct.
so same thing here, you know, you're creating a subdivision, which is great, and no problem at all, but you can't create a subdivision with that big parcel and not envision using it in the future. Like, you have to figure out, okay, how am I gonna use that driveway in the future for that big lot? Because you get one driveway for that subdivision. So it's,
That doesn't seem right. If you've got 2,000 feet of road frontage, you can only have one driveway.
but that's the same thing we dealt with the other piece of property, is one driveway, and you had to have a frontage road to get to the 4. It's the same thing here. The only difference is you're trying to do it piecemeal and creating a road in that is landlocked. So in the future, you'll be like, well, I can't use that because it's
So
landlocked.
what if I turn this into a gravel pit? I can't have a driveway into a gravel pit?
I don't know if you can have a gravel pit in a subdivision. I have no idea. Cause that parcel's forever going to be part of a subdivision.
Yeah, if you wanna do anything with that, you have to come in to amend your subdivision.
So what,
Ever, 100 years from now.
so if I purchase this property here from Eric,
Yeah.
and then I just bring in, then I just subdivide this.
No, that's a subdivision in itself.
That
It's a
is,
minor
uh,
subdivision.
Right.
That's it,
Right,
there's,
why can't I do that? Why can't I purchase?
there's language about avoiding the subdivision ordinance by subterfuge, that way. Intent. I mean, we can look it up, you know, but it's language in the ordinance. It says, you don't do that. Something else I'd point out to you while you're being beaten on, I'm sorry.
I'm still confused as to be about, I don't understand why I couldn't have, the last subdivision you looked at had
Multiple ones.
5 lots, 200 feet of frontage. Now, I can understand why you don't want 5 driveways
It's in the ordinance.
in 1,000 feet.
I can't, you know, we can stop and look it up.
We should look at that, just take a quick look at that. So this is a major.
No, it's a lot. It's a street.
It's an easement.
Well, this is gonna be a private way, or, but Andy's got it written in as an easement.
By the way, it has to be 60 feet wide in Baldwin.
Okay, that's kind of why we're here, to
Yeah.
make sure.
No,
Yep.
that's fine, that's fine. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to look in land use ordinance, it might be in the land use ordinance, if you guys are looking at the subdivision ordinance.
do, but I don't remember what the word is.
Numbered highway.
It has to do with state numbered highways and mentions Route 11 specifically.
Yep, well, it's, River Road, I think it's also.
And River Road, you're right. Yeah.
That's in land use.
What did we wanna find?
That,
Single access to.
Yeah, access,
Just access?
on there.
Driveway entrances maybe, yes.
driveways,
Hmm.
driveways onto
State
state
roads.
numbered highways.
Hmm.
Do you have any memory on this, Don?
I think you're right, I'm just wondering if he put the right of way to the left of the 4 lots, and then took a right in between the 4 lots.
Yeah, you could do that.
That way he'd have access to the other 20 acres at a later date if you wanted to do something with it.
Right, that's what I'm
And
saying.
he'd be covered.
No, that's a great
That would be
idea.
a
On the
pretty
left
good
side, you come up and
thing.
into the middle.
I can show you what I mean.
Come up here and you turn in there. Come up here, turn.
We'll have the 60-foot, right away, right there.
And then you turn it in to pick up these lots. And then if you're,
Yeah.
Yep. Looking for suggestions from you. I don't mean to step in front, no, go ahead, I didn't mean to be stepping in front of you there. Go for it.
So an arterial street in the subdivision is all the route 5, 11, 107, 113, Douglas Hill and River Road. And then
What are you looking at?
subdivision, that's just the definition. So then 12.2 says, access control, where a subdivision abuts or contains an existing or proposed arterial street, so you abut an arterial street. No residential lot may have vehicular access directly onto the arterial street. That makes sense, but you can't have driveways onto,
Onto Route
Onto
11,
Route
that's
11.
what they're calling an arterial street?
Yeah.
Mm.
this requirement shall be noted in the plan and in the deed of any lot with frontage onto the arterial street.
So no, is that, correct me?
So no driveways onto numbered lots.
Onto, no driveways onto Route 11,
Right.
anyway.
Right,
At all.
so, right, I don't think that's the end of it, but that's starting the.
Okay, yeah.
So, just from my knowledge, is there a distinction between a
Oh.
driveway and a private road?
So we've got another thing, this is in the, land use ordinance, 9.3. Any lot created after the effective date of this ordinance as part of the subdivision as defined by the town of Baldwin and state of Maine shall have its required road frontage on a way other than Route 11 107 and 113, the Douglasville Road and the River Road, unless the planning board determines that conditions particular to a parcel justify a waiver from the requirement. A waiver should be granted only if there will be no further subdivision of the parcel and one of the following conditions is met. There is too little road frontage to reasonably allow for the creation of a new way. The shape or physical conditions of the parcel does not permit access to or creation of a way. So that your 1,000 feet of frontage doesn't count. That's what I just read.
Okay.
So you're, I mean, it's not a huge issue, cause your road there,
We
your
can
road
move
there.
the road over to here.
Right,
Yep.
and you'd have to gain your frontage by an internal road.
So what if down the road I wanted to put a house down here in this corner?
So that's why you're here, is and that's why.
I mean, I'm not thinking next year, I'm thinking like,
Yeah, down the road.
when I'm dead and gone and
Your grandchildren are developing.
Eric's and Molly
Forget it.
are doing stuff here, or
Yeah.
wanna build a house here, or.
No.
So maybe you
Yeah.
wanna think about that.
Well, so,
Excuse me.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm just thinking, maybe you wanna think about subdividing more of that lot.
So once it's in the subdivision, you could come in and try to take it out, right? You could ask us to say, I want that 4-acre lot taken out, or that whatever lot taken out of the subdivision.
Like
That's-
this whole piece?
Right, that's a tough ask, right? Because you created a
We
subdivision.
already went to that point, right?
Right, you already created a subdivision.
Yep.
So, that lot is forever, if you get a subdivision with those 5 lots, in theory, those are always bound by the subdivision restrictions, right?
Mhm.
So, in theory, you can never, on that lot, have a driveway directly onto Route 11. You can
But I
have-
could come back at a later time and re-subdivide this because it's more than 2 acres.
You could get a subdivision within the subdivision, yeah, sure, you could, but your problem is when you come back, we're gonna say, well, we warned you that you should do it all at once. And, you know, we may say that internal road, you gotta link up with it, so you move it over to the
You would
left.
have to go from this internal road all the way over to here.
Exactly, that's what I'm trying to say, is.
So there's no way to have more than one
No.
access road to this.
That's what this says.
That's what he's saying.
That's what 9.3 in the land use ordinance says.
That doesn't seem fair when you've got 2,000 feet of road front, or whatever it happens to be.
Well, that's the benefit and detriment of, so you're separating the parcel out in a way that's quicker than what is normally expected, so we expect divisions every 5 years. You're asking to parcel it out quickly, and for that benefit, you're stuck with these subdivision rules. That's the trade-off.
So if I did it every 5 years, I could have
You could be going.
5 driveways under Route 11.
Exactly. Which, you know.
That's not what we want as a town.
It's not great.
And it's not, I mean, as a developer, I'm a builder developer, but don't get me wrong, I don't like to drive down Route 11 and see it all clear cut and, you know.
Right. No, and that's the attention that we have, that, sure, if you've got the patience, you can totally, go around the subdivision ordinance, but,
Well, that's kinda, is that cheating?
well, that's the rules, I mean,
It's the rules, yeah, no, I'm just.
We can't go against this.
You know,
Well, you can,
these rules are made at the state level.
a lot of.
well, this
And
particular road is, this particular one isn't about access to, driveways on state highways.
I
because
think you'll find it in most of them, because I've looked at a lot of them.
I know in Sebago you can have,
No.
I think there is a minimum 200 feet. Oh, that's the state, is that the state rule? And on,
You're on a state road here, good enough.
yeah, but we're talking about a town ordinance, not a state ordinance. I think the town the state ordinance, I think you'll find is much less restrictive
Well,
than yours. And I'm not saying it's right or wrong, I'm just,
Yeah, that's why it's really helpful, and we tell everybody that walks in the door, like, plan out all the
What you
property.
wanna do with the whole lot.
You know, use the whole property, divide it the way you think you're gonna use it in the future, so you can get your road in there how you need it, so it maximizes its use and minimizes the cost, you know. 'cause-
but, I mean, even on a piece of property with 2,000 feet of road frontage, you put in one driveway, your internal roads are gonna be huge.
Not
The
necessarily.
cost for
Not
internal roads
necessarily.
and power,
How many acres is that again?
I'm sorry,
How many acres was that? Whole lot?
30, 29, something.
yes.
So you probably get 14 lots out of that, then.
Hmm.
2 acre lots.
Yeah, Kurt, your cost is gonna be high.
It's higher, but you don't have to develop the road all the way now.
I mean, yeah, I'll have to talk with the engineer about it, I guess.
But it.
Turning it into 14 house lots wasn't my top priority.
But if you don't ever want to use that other piece of parcel, then you can do what you propose, just understand that you're,
Well, I'm not gonna limit myself to never being able to do
Exactly.
something
That's what
with.
we're telling.
so maybe moving that driveway over, you know, or private way over to the other side, give it an angle in so you can access four parcels there a little bit better, and that gives you a lot more options in the future. Obviously not what you wanna do, you wanna do this, but,
Right.
moving that private way, you can,
To the center.
Not the center, Jeff, right alongside the,
Oh, to this side here. Oh,
I mean, I would look at
Right up the
right
property
there, right up
line
the
there,
property
yeah.
line there.
kinda like what I just sketched.
Or you could put it through the middle of the
Or you
lot,
could
it
put it
doesn't
through the
matter.
middle.
Wherever the topography says
Yeah,
it's good.
that's exactly, look at the topography,
Yeah.
look at your soil, look at your rock, what's best for you, but that's kind of where the.
So we're at, one entrance for the whole property.
Yes. Yes. And
What
60
if it,
60
what if
feet
it
wide.
was
60 feet wide.
For you, we could talk about.
what if we came in here and came up, you know, if we had a,
Yeah.
half circle
We
driveway?
could talk about it, and I think that'd be against the ordinance, but if you gave us some reason why the topography was specifically suited for that, you know, we'd hear you.
Yeah, we're avoiding a dead-end street there, which is good.
Hammerhead or
The hammerhead down.
place where the plow trucks hate to go all the time.
Have oil trucks and
Emergency
propane
access,
trucks
you know,
and
you have-
stuff.
Emergency access.
You don't
fire
want them
trucks.
doing K-turns on,
Some guy's driveway.
Right.
It'd be better to have a
I know the
continuous.
plow guys always hate the hammerheads or even the cul-de-sacs are always too small.
Yeah, I got a fire truck in there.
I mean, we're not here to hammer you, but I mean.
No, that's why we're here with this preliminary to try to, I just need to, think about 14 lots instead of 4.
Or maybe 6 lots, so you could, you know.
Whatever, we can't design.
We can't design that.
We can't.
No,
design-
not at all. No, I appreciate your input.
So it'd be even harder if you were adjoining a road. We have those situations where people have to come all the way through the top because they're on if you're on another road, you're not even supposed to access Route 11. Like if you were on Carl Burnell, you'd have to come all the way across from Carl
Go
Burnell.
up to Carl Burnell.
You can't access Route 11, but here,
But you can if you wait 5 years and do it.
exactly.
I just have,
You know,
20 driveways in there, 10, whatever.
Well, no, so what is it? You can break off 2 lots, wait 5 years.
You break off
One.
one, you can divide it in 2
Yeah.
every 5 years.
Yeah, essentially that.
Yeah. You
But
can
then
only-
it wouldn't be.
You can divide it in two, but you can only sell one,
Yeah,
and then you have to wait 5 years to sell the other one.
to break it into.
break it up.
and sell
And then you'd have to break that into and sell one.
And your grandkids don't have to.
We're not working on grandkids yet, right, Eric?
Negative. Not the case.
Okay. How does that work with, so if I was to deed a piece of this, if I was to deed one of these lots to my daughter Molly, does that not count as a lot in the subdivision? It's still counted
It
because
still counts. It still counts. Anything, we look back 5 years. Before your that's where we started, was looking back 5 years.
Right.
Before your application.
Right. See where.
Yeah.
The history was.
Yeah.
But you can do that, you can deed a piece of property to a family member, and it doesn't count.
Isn't there language about, trying to avoid the ordinance?
Yeah, I think you gotta know more, like, if you're parceling them out and you send one off to a relative, that looks a little squirrely, but like if you cut it in half and gave half to a relative, then that wouldn't be part of it, that division wouldn't count towards the subdivision. But like if it's a planned situation like this, I think it would be you're trying to avoid the subdivision. But like if you split that in two and sold one off, wouldn't just the to a relative, wouldn't just the remainder be the subdivision? Because the sale to a relative
Doesn't count.
doesn't count
As long as the relative doesn't, then, the relative then cannot go and subdivide,
Right, they can't sell it off to,
because then it would be considering that you were trying to avoid the ordinance.
yeah,
They'd have to wait 5 years,
At least,
yeah.
same 5 years.
yeah.
Okay, so we'll come back with another sketch plan,
Great, thank you.
and we'll come back with a deed of this property here.
Yep.
Did you get that, Eric?
Yep, of, your parcel. It's for road.
You got any questions that I might not have? Any other
Thank
questions
you,
from the
Eric.
board?
No, thank
And
you guys.
thank you, Kurt.
Appreciate your time.
I appreciate you coming here.
Crappy night. I was waiting for a phone call that saying everyone's canceling. Then I'm thinking, no, them guys from Baldwin, they're gonna go, they're not gonna
It's
cancel.
tough to get out of me, cancellation.
Because of bad weather, what?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much, and sorry to take up everyone else's, so much of your time.
This is hard stuff for us, like this isn't stuff we deal with every day, so, sorry. it took
We'll
so
work
long
through
to
it,
figure
no,
out.
it's no worries, we'll work through it together.
Thank you.
Appreciate you guys.
So do I talk with, code enforcement about getting on the next agenda?
You can say right now you want to be on the next agenda, and you're on.
Okay, I'd like to be on the next agenda.
Okay, I'm Joe Pierce, by the way.
Joe.
I'm sorry, I didn't introduce myself.
Pleased to meet you.
Yeah.
Seen you guys around, but I don't know if everyone's name, Dave, right?
David Struck, yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Okay?
All right.
Thank you guys very much.
Whatever it is, that's
Every time I get my headache trying to figure that one out.
Whoa.
And every time.
I do this.
Oh, good.
They would be in the same position as Gary McNeil, if they
Keep it all.
they want to plant the road, so they access all the lots, but they're.
You got some years of hurt there too, really do it, doesn't he?
What are you here for?
Dick Reynolds and.
Jake.
Jake.
Yeah,
Jake,
this is Amy, this is my wife Amy.
And Amy and Jake Reynolds. And do you want to tell us what you're here for?
We have similar questions. We bought the 32-acre lot on Sand Pond, part of Van Hertel's subdivision, I guess.
Yep.
We just have some
They're
questions.
not as experienced
Yeah,
or
we
prepared.
don't. So,
It's a lot, so if you're on, it's not Spencer anymore, is it? Freedom?
Fremont.
Fremont.
Fremont,
Right.
it's it's the lot behind the Fremont houses?
Behind it.
Okay.
There's a right of way that we had, Hertel put in there from Fremont,
Right,
but there's also access from San Pond Road.
Yeah.
right.
So there is access.
Well, I mean, it borders on San Pond Road.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So,
Don't be nervous.
So,
buddy.
no.
We're just talking, okay?
So,
But you know you're being recorded. Well, just so you don't talk bad about your neighbors.
so I tried to get a street box number.
Yeah.
I had got a driveway permit from West Sunderland when he was the code enforcement. He gave me one for the San Pond side.
Yep.
And somebody was talking to Dawn and said, I don't think that's eligible to have a driveway on that side. So I'm just trying to clear everything up and make sure I am eligible to have a driveway on that
We
side.
already have power, we cleared the lot,
Yeah,
We just
I
got
took out
building
tree growth
permit.
on that side of that lot.
we're deep in, so your whole spiel about come in early and soon,
Yeah,
now we're here to ask
I'm
you for
petrified now.
Well, so you're not looking to subdivide or
No.
anything?
So the second part of that is, I wanna sell a piece to my brother. I had the survey company, I talked to the bank, they were like, you need to talk to the survey, talk to the town, so I got everyone involved, but, I don't know when he subdivided that. I know there's a 5-year wait, so I don't know when it was subdivided.
The 5-year wait does not have to do with subdivisions. Subdivisions are forever.
Forever.
If you want to sell a lot to your brother,
Yeah,
you have to come in and reopen the subdivision.
okay,
So that's a whole, and that involves everybody in the subdivision, everyone in the subdivision.
in that whole subdivision.
Am I correct on that?
Yeah, but I mean, like, they don't have to come play, I mean, they just, it affects them. But like with Firefly,
Yeah.
So we just had another one where a subdivision, I don't know, had 8 houses or something, and they left a remainder of 40 acres.
Yeah.
I'm making it up. And somebody built a house on the 40 acres and wanted to subdivide the 40 acres, and they had already built a house, which they shouldn't have built a house. So they came in and said, we'd like to put this driveway in, we'd like to subdivide it this way, so we wanna change the Firefly subdivision.
Yeah,
So we had a public hearing, talked about it, and agreed to modify the Firefly subdivision, which in theory affects everybody in the subdivision, but nobody else came in,
yeah,
other than the people who own that 40-acre lot. We modified the subdivision, everybody was good to go.
okay, so
So it's not a huge issue.
you just have to raise it to everyone's attention, make sure
Well,
they get
there's
it
a
done.
process,
Yeah,
there's a process.
yeah,
But let's deal with the easy part, like,
yeah.
why couldn't they put a driveway in on San Juan?
Smith Street?
I didn't say they couldn't.
They
In
say-
the subdivision, it shows where all the driveways are,
I'm not sure.
all 8 parcels.
Yeah,
And for parcel 8, which is what they have, it shows the access is coming off of Fremont Ave.
yeah.
And it doesn't show the other.
I'm not sure that's the right
It
number.
shows a 60-foot right of way,
It
Yeah,
shows a 60-foot right of way.
but it doesn't say this is a driveway, but the other ones, all the other lots, remember, they
Yeah.
can draw the driveways in.
Yes,
Well,
I
it
did.
said it was for access to lot 8, I believe is what it said on the map.
Yeah, I think we did ask them to,
I just wanted to get clarification.
yeah, no, I do too.
So you haven't started building yet, but you put in electricity.
We put in electricity, yeah, and I took it out of tree growth and I did
Took it out
clear,
of tree.
yeah,
How many acres did you clear?
I don't know, an acre maybe,
An
yeah.
acre.
I took out 2 acres, yeah.
Yeah,
Tree
okay.
growth, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think I have the drawing.
So basically, if I wanted to subdivide and sell it to my brother and plan it out for my kid, I would have to do the same thing, get a plan board, bring it in, present it, and then you guys vote on it, and then do the,
We have a
everybody-
site walk and a
Yeah.
public hearing and,
okay?
yep.
So what's the first next step to do all of that?
we're still in the first step,
Yeah.
still just making sure we know what we're doing.
We're fast paced.
Yeah.
Well, because we just had a lot of information.
Yeah, we're just trying to make sure we're doing the right thing. I mean, we're not paid, we're not professionals here, you know? We may have been doing it a long time.
Do you need a
but
copy
still-
of the, I have a copy of the lot plan?
Yeah, that would be helpful,
That'd be
one
helpful.
that you, you know.
I have the, survey one too, with all the verbiage on it as well.
Okay, so this is Sand Pond.
Yep.
And where he's cleared is here.
Yeah.
Yep.
And we're talking about this remaining land, and there's the right of way into it.
But we did that, so it wouldn't get landlocked.
I can't read, there's something there and I can't read it.
Which one is it? Two owners
That where it says,
Oh,
60-foot right of way for access.
it just says, 1 inch corner, yes, it's the point to the, metal marker.
The monument?
Yeah.
Looks like it's an access right.
Is this Sand Pond Woods?
Sample Road.
No, the
Yes.
name of the subdivision.
Fremont Woods, isn't it?
Fremont, this is Fremont Woods.
Fremont Woods?
Cause Sand Pond Woods is on the other side of Sand Pond,
That's this one.
yeah.
Okay.
So the first question is that access road the only allowable access to that lot under the subdivision that we granted?
I don't see anything that says that it is. I mean,
Does that have the driveways on it?
The driveway through all the other lots, yeah.
This doesn't have the driveways.
my question, when I look at that, is why did we put in the 60-foot wide right-of-way onto Fremont if we didn't expect that that was the access to
One he sent me.
the remaining acreage?
They're like
It
shared.
doesn't make
That was my guess too, is, yeah.
Split, and the driveway here that
Well,
split, and the driveway here that split.
right,
and then-
right, that doesn't have the driveways on it.
But this one doesn't, I think the one you sent me did.
So that's the one I got when we purchased the land, I got that from the survey company, sent me that.
Okay,
You have the one that showed the other driveways that you sent to me?
I think this is the only one I had that I sent to you.
The one you sent to me and the one I had showed driveways that are shared between these two lots and these two lots. They're like Y-shaped driveways going in.
Yeah, this is the only copy I have.
yes, you're right,
Okay.
Don, we did that, we did designate driveways
Right.
and with a Y to share the driveways, to minimize the number of
Did you guys all
driveways.
look at it?
Exactly. And it, when it came to lot 8, it just had 60-foot access to lot 8, and that's
Yeah.
what raised the question in my mind.
Yeah.
Because it didn't show the possibility of another driveway off the San Juan Road. And that's why I said we ought to check with them. I wasn't trying to give you folks a hard time, I was trying to.
Yeah, no, I'd rather get it right, than, yeah.
So you're in lot 8, is that it?
You've got lot 8.
And that was the remaining land.
I don't know, you've got,
What it says,
Proposed 60-foot.
Yeah.
this is an access easement.
Fremont.
The driveways are right here, right here. Yeah, the other driveways are in, but
Yeah, here's the
the
one,
driveways are put in.
here's the one Jim wanted.
There you go.
This is what Jim wanted.
This is like a whole thing, yeah.
you haven't even dug the hole.
I know.
All right, so here's the
You'll get
We
driveway.
are
there.
thinking all over.
And
Get
then
32
here's the
acres,
lot
yeah.
he bought.
I'm
And
sure
then
together
there's
we'll
a driveway,
Well, it's good to get everything right before
Driveway.
you start, because otherwise
He
you
didn't
just keep
designate
having
the
things
driveway,
come
he
up.
just said he had to provide access to that back
Exactly.
lot.
Power.
Exactly.
Existing right of way over Sand Pond Road, assume.
We like that, when you started to go smooth sailing.
Yeah.
That's not the final drawing.
That's not the final.
Yeah. If you look at the final drawing, there's a whole bunch of amendments.
Yeah, but this lays out, okay, you may be right, but we,
There's some, so there's notes on this one that are not there.
it,
Yeah, that was the one. It
Yeah.
does show that right of way in here, but it doesn't show any possibility here, but the driveways for every other lot are marked right out. And that's what we want.
Right, so this is, let's get the Tesla part of the way, okay, so when's the date on that,
I thought it was 2022.
what's the date on the, CUP?
Isn't it 22? I read that somewhere.
Let's say March 12th, 21?
July 2020. That was the first planning board.
July
Yes.
2020.
Looks like March 12th.
I
The
agree
date that
with
we
you.
signed it,
I think he's got frontage on San Juan Road, and
I think this is, probably our,
what's it say,
probably
March?
our, fault, so to speak, to have not taken into account that this back acreage here had access on Sand Pond.
Right.
And I think he's okay.
I think you're okay.
I got two.
We got two.
It looks like you got access to San Juan Road and you have this right away.
Yeah. I mean, I have the verbiage from the survey, and that's what the survey says. and
That's what this says.
And that,
This
yeah.
says, you got frontage here and you got that.
Yeah.
I think this is our fault as a planning board, that we were not clear on this. That's my opinion. I don't know.
And there was a whole bunch of other lots here, which are frontage, they're not his.
Well, it's better to get it clear before you go too far.
Yeah, no, I appreciate
And I
it.
want to, this is an address.
So the bottom line is, looks like you have two access points to you.
So let's wait to see what happens when, David and Matt weigh in.
Okay.
They're much more deliberative than I am.
Gotta have them lock in their vote, all right,
We kind of work on consensus and, give everybody a chance to have their say.
So what is the ask?
Two lots.
The ask is that.
Make sure my
you know,
driveway's in the
it's
right spot.
given a driveway permit by Wes to be in here. And he has cleared 2 acres, and he would like to continue and build a house here. And the question is this the only access to this land? And it could be that we were confused. There are these stray lines here that I don't understand.
Those deal with the soil types when they.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if you needed to see this, but this is the permit, so he knew it was on Sand Pond
Right.
side.
So he just wants to put a driveway in here so he can build a house here.
And then he had a second question, was, could he subdivide something off?
Let's do
That's
this
a whole
one at a
different, that's a whole
time.
different issue.
Right, yeah, just wanted to.
One at a time.
When did we,
You might get half of it.
I think it's our oversight.
no, when did we sign it though? When
They,
did
they should, it should be available in the registry of deeds, but the,
Yeah, we can totally get it from the registry of deeds, I agree.
March 12th, 2021, right there.
We don't have any,
And below that is,
there's a March 11th, 2021.
We bought it before then.
Yeah,
We bought it before then,
is that 18th or?
We were in 2020 or 19?
2020.
12 to me, but.
We bought it in 2020.
And I see Matt Sanborn, myself, but do you think it's there?
Yeah. Not denying I signed it. Denying Hale, so I did not deny I signed it.
Could you,
Oh, here it is, there it is.
could you do that after we bought the land?
What?
Cause we bought the land in 2020. So would you approve it and sign it after that?
Not if we knew that you bought the land from Fertel, no.
So it had to been before that then, right?
Yes.
So it had to be before 2020.
Yeah, no, it's 19.
So there's currently a right-of-way off Fremont Avenue that's 60-foot wide, one, right? And you're putting in one off Sand Pond Road.
Yes.
Right. None of these are major highways or state highways or anything like that. So
Now, our ultimate goal would be to
I don't think, and given everything that we were discussing, it doesn't seem to be the limitations that we were talking about with, Christensen or anything like that.
Are you okay with that then, Matt?
Yeah, I mean, because Sand Pond Road's an existing right-of-way, public over Sand Pond Road, Davis, I mean, 49.5 foot width holding center line. Yeah, there's no problem with putting a driveway in off Sand Pond Road,
And that other 60-foot right-of-way gives access to
I mean,
house.
this is a disjointed, it's a big arc of a.
I said it kinda looks like the United States a little bit.
Yeah.
So do be careful,
Right, if you wanna give a piece to your brother.
because you want to preserve access to the rest of the land, wherever you own.
That takes us into the next subject, when you're ready to go into that, we'll go into that.
Okay.
They did buy it in August of 2020, I have the deed right here in my file.
August of 2020.
Yeah, so
Confirm what you
Yeah.
said. We have it.
Now, this is very good, Don, that you brought this to us so that we could all understand what's going on. And it doesn't come back and bite us later.
Well, I didn't want it to come back and bite them later. It's kind of
Yeah.
hard to move
Yeah.
a house and a foundation and a septic system, you know,
Yeah.
We've kind of been getting used to the fact of things being approved and then the problems cropping up like 6-9 months later, so
Yes.
we'll have to get used to this proper way of doing things.
That's the advantage to doing it in February. That's starting to
Oh,
go
this
for
must have
another
been when you were
month.
chairman.
That's why I stopped. I knew I was in over my
This
head.
is a signed copy. This is a signed one.
It was, it is a different soil delineation.
Yeah,
There's
this
a
was signed.
wetland across here. This was in some kind of a watershed area. I didn't know if that had anything to do with water. It didn't.
Or a wet run,
Right.
defined as a wet
Because
run.
otherwise they might have, let's say, just put another lot in here.
Who forged my signature?
I don't know. I wasn't here then.
Yeah, get linked on.
That looks different.
It does. I think we re-signed it, but I
Okay.
think there was one slight change, so let's just use this one
Yeah.
quickly. So my recollection is that the discussion was, whether or not he was gonna use that as another lot. Like we wanted to make sure there was access from both sides. Like, my recollection is we weren't saying this was a driveway. We just wanted to make sure if this did get cut off, it would be landlocked.
Right.
Mhm.
Give him way in there.
Yeah, okay. So we are all agreed that he can have access from Sand Pond Road.
You think? I think that's,
No, that's fine.
cause I remember us having him do this, right? I
Yep.
remember that.
Yep,
And I remember it was for access to Lot A. But it was never a driveway.
no, it was never a driveway. It was.
But it could be a driveway.
Cause here's the driveway.
That's what we're hoping.
It was
Like, the one day is the driveway.
So we're agreed.
Yes.
We're agreed on this. Okay. So now, moving on to question number 2.
All right.
What do you do about, wanting to sell your brother's two? Leave that out, please. Leave that out.
Yeah, we've got,
So what do you do about, what do we do
So,
about
yeah, my-
wanting to sell 2 acres to your brother?
My question, so I have the survey people on the hook right now,
Yep,
and I'm trying to figure out, I wanna plan out, I wanna sell my brother a piece over here, use this as a right of way in,
yep,
and then future down the road, I have 2 kids, I wanna make 2 lots, planning out ahead.
yep,
So one day, if they choose to stay in the state and they wanna live here,
yep.
they will have 2 lots, should they want to be here.
So the problem is that when you come to us to open the subdivision up and so forth, we're gonna say, where's the access? Where are the driveways?
Yeah.
And I'm looking at this, and I'm seeing that we've probably, this indicates wetlands.
Yeah.
So you're gonna want to, you got this very narrow place here, you gotta put
You're gonna have to have an internal road.
an internal road.
You're gonna have to extend that road out and get 3 lots up in here.
Yeah,
Extend this out, make 3 lots in here.
yeah,
Yeah.
You follow what I'm saying?
somehow.
Yeah. This is your access to these 3 or 4 lots, whatever you do here.
So that's what you have
So
to.
it's gotta go straight out, it can't run this line
Yeah.
here.
It could.
Cause I was thinking, just cut them off like this.
It could, then you go that way.
Yeah.
But the point is, it's gonna be a subdivision, you should probably consider what the future use is gonna be on this whole entire lot, we've heard that before.
Yeah, I just got the.
So, you know, if you're thinking about
Yeah.
1 lot for your, and then 2 more for, and if you wanted to get 4 lots out of it, maybe you could.
Yeah.
And the
But
problem,
But then, now's the time to do it,
Yeah.
to think about that.
Right. That's why I had the
And then you
survey.
come in with the subdivision and it's done, 4
Yeah.
lots.
Okay. So-
but the problem is, so what a builder would do is they'd say, yeah, we'll bring a road in here, we'll put it wherever, we'll have the parcels off of that, fantastic. But the problem is you can't do anything with these parcels until that road is put in.
Right.
And up to grade.
Yep.
You know, that's
60 feet wide, yeah, I got all the stuff, yeah.
$20,000.
Yeah.
There's money there.
Put in that road, plus your electricity.
Right.
So if you do the subdivision, just understand, you really can't do anything with the parcels until you do the
Right.
infrastructure.
So sell your brother the piece that's furthest in.
Yeah, make him put.
Yeah. I like where your head's at.
I think that is the question, is if we only did the one to the brother, cause I mean, our kids are still young, like, I don't wanna plan the.
Yeah, so do I gotta just do the road?
That
And
comes
not
to that
to
whole
his house?
issue we did before, you have to come in and modify subdivision. Cut it
Well,
out.
Cause
like-
our intention is not to be a builder, we don't wanna sell off to random people, but like,
Okay.
one day, maybe the kids will want a piece of land, but like, we don't wanna be developers, we
So
don't.
you don't want a land lot, so what they were doing is exactly what the concern is if you bring this in and put the parcel right here, so you're essentially saying we can't use the rest of it, you can't use the rest
Well,
of it.
okay, so yeah, my plan was to have the road come in and go that way, so you have his house would be here, and then just survey out the other 2 lots.
But not use.
Yeah, and.
Not use them, you could subdivide it, but not use them.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
have to,
it'd be
we
my-
have to
it'd be
look
my
at the
case.
plan to see.
Yeah,
I mean,
so
that's-
if I came up with a plan, then I would have to bring it to you guys and have it approved.
Because what we don't want you to do is to say, well, the road goes over here, and then approve a subdivision, and then you sell off the lots, but you don't put in the entire road.
Right.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
Because like, for example, for over here, when he did this, one of the things that we had him do was we said, you can't build on these or sell these lots until you put in the electricity. Like, that was a
Okay,
condition
so
of
yeah,
the
you guys made him do
subdivision.
that, alright.
Yeah, like,
Because that caused me problems when I tried to put in power, the power company was like, oh, we can't do anything with those poles, because he had a different company do it, not CMP.
right.
So they wouldn't touch nothing until they actually had power, and then, yeah, it's been a whole thing.
It's been a year trying to get power,
That's
and then when we
why-
heard the driveway's in the wrong spot, we're like, no, we've spent a year trying to get power.
But that's why the power is even in there, because, you know, like, as a subdivider creator, we want the subdivider to pay the infrastructure cost.
Yep.
So like this, you know, what they do is they sell this, and this goes here, and then they sell this, and the power goes here, and it's all like haphazard.
Right.
So we
You
have to.
wanna plan ahead, so you're not doing
Yeah.
the onesie twosies, yeah, that
Yeah.
makes sense.
So here's a question, when he comes in to subdivide his property, he needs to come in with a revised subdivision plan. That's
Yes.
drawn up by a surveyor.
That's what
Yep.
we've been looking.
So what does that plan look like? Does it look like just his lot subdivided and then attached to this one, or is it redone the whole thing?
Well, it becomes a major subdivision. Right now, it's a major subdivision. And yes, everything has to be included.
you're starting to do work on this, and I was gonna tell the Christians who's this, but as you're creating roads or private ways, a private way shall not serve as access to any lot in a subdivision, nor shall any private way created after the date of the adoption of this ordinance be offered to the town for acceptance as a townway until it is brought up to the standards of Article 12, Design Standards 12.2.b, Street Design and Construction Standards of the subdivision ordinance. So
You can't have, it's gotta be a full road, a full,
Yes.
Or it's a private way.
If you want the town to take it over.
And-
oh.
No,
Someone take it?
no, it's
Doesn't
just,
have to be developed, does it?
yes,
Well, it has to be up to town standard, yeah.
Right.
Even private road has.
yes,
So,
Okay.
I guess the point
because
is
the
that
problem comes if,
If it ever was.
you know,
you wanna take a look at the subdivision ordinance because there are some performance standards or design standards for whatever kind of private ways or roads that you put in your subdivision.
Okay.
so, if I remember from the McNeil subdivision,
Yes.
he's also got the problem of a private road can only serve 2 lots. And when it
Unless
goes-
it's in the subdivision.
And when it serves 3, then it goes to a subdivision.
But it
So-
does two.
It's 2, can be served 2 without being part of the subdivision.
But they're already part of the subdivision.
They're already part of the
Yeah, so
subdivision.
the overlay of the subdivision negates that.
Yep, yep, yep.
So you can get a mailbox, I mean, that's cool.
Your house is good.
Yeah, that's good.
I mean, assuming it meets all the other requirements, you know?
Yeah.
We
You
don't.
may never get mail there, but you have.
Yeah.
None of us ever get mail anymore anyway. Yeah,
Well, then like you said, if you try to go in later, they'd be like, why didn't you do this?
Yeah, that's.
If you're gonna plan it, you might as well plan it for.
Yeah, if you're gonna redraw it, I mean, it's hard to get an engineer, I know, cause I got the same problem with my place.
Yeah.
It's hard to get an engineer to go in and redraw a subdivision, and then when you start doing it, if you look at the rules of what you need there, you need, to lay out the lots, and septic pits tested, and all kinds of things, and make sure that you can find water, or distances.
Well, he probably sold it because he couldn't do all of that.
Or didn't want to.
Yeah, there used to be, you should check the deeds too, because there used to be, so when you come, let's see, sample, so when you come on Fremont, so the first parcel in Fremont and the second parcel, there's a house here and a house here, there's an undeveloped lot there, so
Yeah, like a
30
wetland.
years ago, there was a access road into your lot off of Fremont, right off of 113.
Yeah.
So you may wanna check the deeds to see if that's a deeded easement,
That,
cause
I
that
think-
would give you another access.
Yeah, I think that's, I think my line is just after that, cause I know what road you're talking about, it kinda goes uphill a little bit next to the red house.
No, there's
No, not
no
that
road
one?
there, it's all
Well, it's like
filled
the
in.
old Skeeter Road now.
Nope,
Maybe it was the
there's
Skeeter
no
Road.
road there.
Okay.
So there's a house right on the corner,
Yeah.
and there's another house inside. In between there used to be an access road, and I thought it was an easement to go to your property.
Oh, really?
So I would just check to make sure, cause if you could get that, you'd have a third access already there.
Yeah, this deed isn't specific about that, that's.
No, I know, my mother-in-law used to own that property.
Oh, no kidding.
So I was just looking at it, should've known it anymore, so I don't care.
Okay.
How would I find that?
You just have to check the deeds to see if there was ever an easement granted
For
over
that lot, check the deed for that lot?
for those two lots,
In between
yeah.
the two lots, yeah.
Yeah.
or a hotspot.
Awesome. Yeah,
So you're on,
Yeah, my firm hates it.
they don't want to use it in public.
So are we good?
We're good with that. I have one last thing.
You only get two.
You only get two, all right. We're good then. Somebody said something, my dad bought me a sign, and I just stuck it in the end. I guess there's rules against that. It's a decorative sign, it's not a,
We made us
street
a
sign.
Reynolds Way sign, and it's
Yeah.
like
Oh,
a,
I've seen that.
So when I went to get the
we
street
got
number,
one side of
I
it.
got more flack about that,
Okay,
so I just
so
wanna make sure I'm not breaking any rules.
That's across the hall.
Oh, that's that way, okay, alright.
Because that,
But
this is an
apples
E
and
911 issue.
Yeah,
And you may very well get the name of your driveway to be that.
Yeah.
Maybe
They're fantastic.
you can't have it. My driveway is named, but it's very specific, it's gotta be a particular color, and there's a coding. I live at Pierce Place. If it was Pierce Lane, it would be public. If it's Pierce Place and blue sign, it's private. You know, I mean,
all
so.
kinds of little things.
It's just a cute sign, like,
And the thing is that if you want the ambulance to come or the fire engine to
Yeah.
come, you want her to agree to the name of your,
Gotcha.
you know, what you've got out there.
Alright, and what's her name?
Robin.
Robin's the one.
Yeah,
Right.
Robin,
Alright.
yeah.
so we can officially get our 911 address.
That's
Yeah,
who
once
gives
we
it to
talk to
you.
her, yeah.
Alright.
She's, you know, you want her to be happy.
Okay, we'll make Robin happy.
Robin,
The other issue that you had was, is it okay to put the driveway in over there?
yeah.
And that's been okay.
I think everybody agrees it's good.
Yeah.
I think there's no prohibition on the plan for that. I think that's the easiest way to say it. So you don't even need our
That's the
approval.
legalistic way to say it.
Thank you very much. Thank you very
Thank
much
you.
for hearing us out. I have,
Are you moving to Baldwin, or have you moved to Baldwin?
yeah, we're gonna be moving, over here, yes.
Oh, welcome.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Jake. Yeah, I own the woodlot down the road from you,
You do?
on,
I see
Sand Pond.
I see they're cutting just past the
Yeah,
pond there,
yeah, Ricky Days,
Yep.
for me, yeah.
I'm the one that rakes the beach, I'm the new beach lady, so you see me raking, that's my.
Okay.
You
I wave when I go by.
do, yeah.
that one.
You were? Okay, I picked up all the trash? Was that you in the trash?
Not my trash, but it was yours.
I did do it all, didn't I?
I saw you do it.
Yes, I spent a lot of time on it.
Yeah, she called me that day, she goes, you're not gonna believe it, I said, what? She goes, somebody tipped over the picnic tables and the trash cans in the pond.
I took them all
And I
out,
said,
yeah.
I said, you're gonna be a while, aren't you? She said, yeah, I can't leave.
I couldn't believe it, it took a couple hours.
Thank you everyone for your time, thank you, nice to meet you all.
So, just a word about Elizabeth and Jerome, and their kennel application for a kennel. Because of our site walk, and some concerns expressed, with permission from Mr. Braun, I asked DEP to inspect, and, they will be inspecting. They're dealing with Mr. Braun and with Don Kent. They're gonna go out on an inspection, and I said, not my job, inappropriate for me to go out. Don will go out and Don will report to us what happens. They may be, the state maybe help them find the spot on their land where they can build a kennel. And, I told them that we may have to have another site walk and another, you know, hearing, just because it will have been changed. And, Mr. Braun understood that.
Speaking of, whether it's your job or not, are you at a point now where you are no longer recusing yourself from anything to do with Nature's Wilderness?
Correct. With Nature's Wilderness, Gary was in here, he said he talked to Don last Friday, and Don had told me he'd been talked to by Gary, and I told Don, I'm not putting them on the agenda, because David said, the second meeting, not right not coming back the next meeting, and, that was understood by us, by them, by the public, and so, I think we have to stick with things being in order. We had some problems last time with a certain amount of chaos, surrounding the application, and I want to minimize the chaos factor. I could have called up David and asked him what he wanted to do, but I just ripped the responsibility away from him.
Yeah, no, team effort, I mean, just
The
saying.
thing that concerned me, they were in here on a Thursday night, last time we had the meeting. They said, they had a delay, they couldn't do anything for a few months anyway, whatever they said. He was here at 8 o'clock the next morning saying it was all different from what he said the night before. He just got word from all this stuff that had changed. And it sounded odd to me, that you'd hear from the state before 8 o'clock in the morning unless you...
We don't get up until.
Okay. So, I don't know.
Yeah, but let's do it, one of the things, David, that you taught me is to move with all deliberate speed.
That's just 'cause I'm not smart enough to do anything else.
I'm trying to learn that from you, is like, if we say it's going to be a month, it's going to be a month.
Yeah.
You know, it's not, oh, I can speed it up because things change. Well, I'm glad things change for you, but, you know, this is the way we're gonna do it. And I will say Gary was very good, and he said, okay, if that's the way you want it. I said, well, you can stay around and you can talk to us again. Oh, I'm gone. Okay. You know, so he was very good about it. That was great. I did have a conversation with Derek Holt, who is the owner, identifies himself to me as the owner of Nature's Wilderness, and he's wanted to emphasize with me that he does not want to fight with us. So I have his phone number, and if anybody thinks that things are going off the rails and we want to bring it back onto the rails, I have his phone number and we can give him a call. I think that's a wise thing to have for everybody concerned, for them and for us. I've asked him, Mr. Holt, he says he comes up to Baldwin twice a month or so, and I've asked him to stop by and visit with me, because that's what you do with a neighbor. I don't know where he is to deliver the pie, you know, deliver the cookies. But I asked him to, stop in and, I said, when you cross the boundary into Maine, give me a call, and, we'll get together and have a cup of tea or something. Do you have anything to report to us, Don?
I just have one other question. I've been in contact with this Ken Demoti, I think is the pronunciation of his name, or is it Demoti or Demoti Lane on Sand Pond?
I'm not.
The pronunciation of it.
Is it the boatyard guy?
I don't know, but he has 2 lots, and they were made lots before the ordinances came in that said they had to be 2 acres. And he built a house before the ordinance on one of them. And he has a reverse mortgage on that house now, so there's that 3rd name on the deed. He wants to build on the other lot. And there was some question in my mind as whether he could do that without the planning board being aware of it, because the lot isn't 2 acres.
So, if I remember this correctly, Bob, you may remember this.
We did something like that before.
Yeah, there was somebody who, and we said,
I don't remember what we said, but.
we said, you got 2 lots. We can't force you to combine your 2 lots. I think that's what we said. I think that's what state law is.
Yeah, that's what state law is now. It used to be towns could push them together, and then somebody sued, like Cape or somebody.
Yeah, Scarborough.
Scarborough, yeah. Now you can't force them to combine it.
Even if the name's the same.
Even if the name's the same, yeah.
Yep.
But I mean, so if he has non-conforming lots, you can't make him any more non-conforming now. So, I don't know if it's a buildable lot. If there's nothing on it, you can then build on it.
I think you can.
Can you?
Yeah. As long as you can.
Meet the setbacks.
The
Setbacks
requirements,
and-
yeah.
Wasn't that the issue down on Route 5, or down Route 5, right next to the garden folks there? You wanted to,
This was an issue on Sand Pond Road, or in Dave's Lane, or whatever, down in that area. Yeah. And it was, you've got two lots?
the lot existed before, so as long as you meet the setbacks, you don't have to meet the 2 acres doesn't apply, cause it was created before the ordinance was. So everything else has to be kosher.
It's claiming the town not too far back put those 2 lots together, but from what I can see on the map, they aren't. They're listed as 32 and 32B.
Well, there was a time when towns were doing that.
Are there separate deeds?
There are.
That's the thing that's always bothered me about this thing, is that it's in the ordinance, still. The old land use ordinance, that if you have 2 lots, then, one of them is, substandard, then it gets combined. But the real question is then, how does that happen, and who makes it happen? Right? And we stumble onto it in taxing problems.
Yeah,
all the time.
taxes, yeah.
When it comes time to tax somebody, like there was a lot over on Pigeon Brook Road. Well, somebody went bankrupt, and someone came in and bought the property. It turns out they owned the adjacent lot, because it was a substandard lot. It's over beside that big, squash field or whatever they're near,
Oh, yeah.
okay? And there was a narrow strip in there that was originally broken out, and it was substandard because it didn't have the frontage. And we chased people around all over the place trying to figure out who to tax. And it turns out that it was just part of the other lot. But it never got transferred in their deed because it doesn't, it might be in the rules, but there's no way to affect it. If the town is forcing it, should the town pay for it,
Well, but I think that was the issue.
It requires that you file something with the registry of deeds, right?
Yeah, that was the issue in the Scarborough case was essentially if the town forced the 2 lots together, it was a taking because they had 2 buildable lots. And to force them to put it together was, the court said was unlawful.
Yeah, I don't remember that issue coming up, but it's still in our ordinances.
Well, it's a tough call for me, because the bank has a mortgage on the house and that lot, but they don't have a mortgage on the other lot. So, I went through the ordinances a couple of times, and you can look at it slightly different ways, depending. But I just wanted to talk to you folks before I said yes or no.
Does it need to go to the Board of Appeals to get a formal recognition that the lot was created before the ordinance, and does somebody have to declare that?
Has anything that indicates otherwise, I don't know, I'd have to look at how it's being taxed.
He had a plan from when they laid out the lots, and it had different numbers on those lots from when they laid the whole thing out. And then the town renumbered them, but it's still listed as 2 separate lots, as recently as last year.
We can go into the tax rolls and see if he's being taxed 2 separate accounts.
If he's being taxed 2 separate accounts, he's got 2 separate lots.
Okay, so if he's being taxed separately on the lots, he can bill. Otherwise, it's not.
But if
It's a more difficult question if he has 1 tax bill.
Right.
Did the town force them together?
He claims the town illegally merged the lots, and he wants to have it straightened out, because he wants to build on the other lot. But from what I can see, the town didn't merge the lots, so the numbers are different, but that doesn't
we
mean.
can walk across the hall and see what the name.
I told him I'd find out. Some of these things I'd rather not make a decision on, without talking to a few other people, because I think it avoids trouble down the road.
Oh, that's great.
And see, they never come up until there's an issue with somebody wants to build on a lot, or, somebody had a house lot behind somebody else's lot and claimed a right of way on the neighbor's property to get to it.
That happens all the time.
And we forced them to combine them because of some issues about, properties, but that's the only time I ever am aware that we force people to combine lots because of
Well, you can always have fun too, I mean, then.
well, you can just go across and see if you got two separate lots.
Okay, and if they're listed as two separate lots, they're okay to build on it.
So, a question for you, Bob. When Nature's Wilderness comes in, and we had a slight conversation about this last week, I think. You have the town has a problem with taxing mobile homes or RVs, or whatever, and,
It's primarily at Acres of Wildlife or.
so let's avoid it with a new, with a new, conditional use permit. How do we avoid it?
Well, I think we've talked to Ben about it a little bit, and, we've talked to Deb too, but, the easy way would be that the taxes would be paid by the, campground owner.
Yeah,
And what
that's-
happens is they haul away,
Yep.
and then when you try to find them with a tax bill, they don't respond, and in 3 years you go to foreclosure, and they're off wherever.
Yeah, they're in Wyoming, yeah.
Yeah.
So, if we write as a condition that the campground will pay the, property tax, if they aren't paying an
It's not
excise tax.
property tax, though, it's the excise, you can pay the excise tax as registering your vehicle, or you can pay it as, I guess you pay it as property tax, it's like it's a little home or something, so how do you pay the taxes on this thing,
So, do you wanna talk to Ben, or should I talk to Ben to get the exact language right?
I'll see if I can talk to them.
Yeah, what is this again?
So RVs, they're subject to excise tax or property tax. They're sitting there at Acres of Wildlife for,
3 years, 4 years.
and they don't pay their tax bill, which is sent to them by the town, and
And they're like, they can move it,
they're gone.
Yeah.
They're gone.
And then when you come to collect the tax, oh, I haven't had it there for 3 years.
So you'd want the campground to report to the town, anybody who's there long enough.
No, I just want them to pay the tax.
Well, but you have to know who they need to pay the tax for.
But are these for the people that keep their campers there all season?
Yeah.
I mean, if you're moving in for the summer, right, and then you move it out, you've got to register it to go over the road, and that's where you pay your excise tax. But if you bring it in there and park it, then you can pay real estate tax and that.
And you don't have to register it.
And you don't have to register it. And so, we've got a bunch of them now that doesn't know what to do with it. It's not a lot of money, but it's.
The idea of it.
The idea of it, people pay on their taxes.
Yep.
So we want measures of what, we want the campground to tell us who's there long enough to where they have to pay that tax, and then they would be responsible for paying it.
The campground.
The campground,
Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
Yes, if we can do that, I think that's,
Well, they could just collect the money as part of the fee for being there.
they could.
Sounds good, that's a solution.
Anyway. What do you want to say about that?
That's just the fee letter, how much we have to pay in fees in the second page.
Let's put it in the budget file.
Yeah. The rest of it seemed really just whatever. Thank you. From my hand to yours.
It's that time. Budget push.
Yeah.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
done already.
All agree.